I am driving this, the Ford Figo Aspire facelift. This is a fantastic compact sedan already, and Ford has gone ahead and made it even better by reducing the price and giving it a lot more features. In today's video, I'm going to tell you all about the Ford Figo Aspire. The Aspire has always been a good looking car because the inspiration from Aston Martin really works at the front. For the facelift, Ford has given it a new grille, revised bumpers both at the front as well as the rear. The rear one even gets fake air dams, a lot more chrome treatment, but what really stands out on this car are the new 15-inch multi-spoke wheels, which are only available on the titanium trim. There are a lot more changes on the inside because the Aspire now gets a new center console with a new 6.5-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Sync 3. It also gets Apple CarPlay, Android Auto connectivity, it gets a reverse parking camera which is very legit, gives a great view of what's behind, and you can also zoom it. It also gets reverse parking sensors, and there are a ton of features in this car including automatic headlights, automatic wipers, auto dimming inside rear view mirror, and Ford has given both the sun visors a mirror now. Further changes include two USB ports next to the gear lever, and it also gets a push button start. Disappointingly though, there is no passive entry in the Figo Aspire. The Aspire has always got good amount of features which are carried over on the facelifted model as well, like a climate control air conditioning and a segment first 6 airbags. The automatic variant also gets hill start assist along with traction control system. Quality levels are good, they are not great, and there are plenty of storage bins, especially in the center. So you get multiple cup holders along with space to keep your phone as well as the car key. Meanwhile, the glove box isn't that large and the instrument cluster could have been better. It does get a multi-information display, but the overall size of the cluster is slightly small. The rear seat has decent amount of space, the seat back is scooped out, there are magazine holders over here, and in terms of legroom and kneeroom, it is not the best in the segment, although headroom is just about adequate. Meanwhile, the center armrest makes it comfortable, but it doesn't get 3 headrests at the rear, although the 2 headrests are adjustable. However, under thigh support is quite lacking for tall passengers. The other gripe at the rear is the fact that none of the rear doors get a door pocket, which means you will rely only on the cubby hole which is at the end of the center console. Build quality is good, it's not great like older Fords, and this car has got a rating of 3 stars from Global NCAP. Both the petrol engines are all new. One is a 1.5 litre unit which produces 123 PS of power and is paired to a 6-speed torque converter gearbox. Meanwhile, the one we are driving here happens to be the petrol manual, which is a 1.2 litre unit from the Dragon series. It produces a class-leading 96 PS of power and 120 Newton meters of torque. This engine is a big step up from the older engine because refinement levels are much better, it feels more eager, low-end performance is great, there is very little lag, in fact there's almost no lag, but once you get past 2000 RPM there's some sort of a hitch, but the motor wakes up again around 3,500–4,000 RPM and pulls strongly to the top end and redlines at a massive 6,800 RPM. It also is quite refined lower down but makes quite a lot of racket in the top end, which is actually music to the ears. Refinement levels are great for a 3-cylinder engine, and it also has great mileage claimed at 20.4 km per litre. Ford has also debuted a new 5-speed gearbox on the Aspire. It offers much slicker shifts, it's lighter, and the clutch is also on the light side, which means that driving this car is hassle-free now. The diesel Figo retains the same engine as before, which produces a smacking 100 PS of power and 215 Newton meters of torque. And I'll tell you straight away, this is by far the best small capacity diesel engine in the market because it has good amount of drivability on offer. The mid-range is also very strong. It doesn't have the drivability of a Honda ID Tech motor, but otherwise it pulls really very well. Turbo lag is well contained and there's good amount of punch in the mid-range. So much so that this car goes from 0 to 100 km per hour in just 9.72 seconds. This is a sub 10 second car. It is very, very, very fast and fun to drive as well. In fact, this diesel engine has good amount of refinement lower down. It's only once you get past 3,500 RPM that you can hear some amount of the diesel drone inside the cabin. And for the most part, you wouldn't want to go above 3,500 RPM because it doesn't have a top end, although it redlines all the way till 5,000 RPM. Now this car has got a new gearbox which is very slick shifting, and the clutch is also on the lighter side. One interesting thing to note is that this particular car, or rather the diesel, has a fuel tank capacity of 40 liters. Meanwhile, the petrol has a fuel tank capacity of 42 liters. Well, obviously that's to do with the fact that the diesel is quite efficient, having a certified mileage of almost 26 kilometers per liter. However, the interesting thing is that even though the diesel has one more cylinder and similar displacement as the petrol automatic, it is actually the petrol automatic which weighs more than the diesel manual. Unfortunately though, Ford doesn't offer the top spec titanium plus trim in the petrol automatic. The Figo has always been a fantastic car in terms of ride and handling balance. The suspension is on the softer side. It is very well calibrated for Indian roads. And in terms of ride quality, this car really excels. The only gripe I have with this vehicle in terms of ride comfort is that on really bad roads, you can feel a lot inside the cabin and it kind of pitches over there. However, the ground clearance too is on the lower side because of the flap, which means that you have to be careful over bad roads, otherwise it's just going to scrape through over there. The handling is good, it's tight, it's well controlled. The steering doesn't offer much feel and feedback in the center head position, but overall it is a fun to drive car. The Aspire remains glued to the road at higher speeds, and the brakes also work very well as long as you don't stand on the brakes, because when you do so, you realize that the ABS unit is very oversensitive. The Ford Aspire has always been a fantastic compact sedan led down by two things. One is the petrol engine and the other is the lack of features when compared to competition. Ford has updated both, making the Aspire a lot more desirable. It gets plenty of features now, and the new petrol engines are very good indeed, in fact on par with the diesel, which was already a fantastic oil burner. The Aspire now offers a lot more value for the money because the price has been reduced and the equipment has been increased. So if you're looking for a compact sedan and want to take to the wheel often, well, nothing beats the Ford Aspire.